Welcome to the show. I'm Danella. Here's what's happening now. We're going to talk about another suicide that occurred this week. Also, watching the situation with this soccer team stranded in a cave in Thailand. This is amazing. It's amazing that they're still alive. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And in our world this week, the world's largest jazz festival had to cancel one of its shows because of racism. I can't believe they were able to pull it off as long as they did. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, it's Political Pop. Here is your Political Pop for Friday, July the 6th. After weeks of posturing, it's official. The trade war has begun. America making good on its promises to hit China with tariffs, $35 billion worth of tariffs. Well, China said, hey, you're going to do it to us? We will retaliate and do it back to you. So it's official. Yes, tariffs are on. We're already seeing affected our stock market here in America, international stock markets affected as well. And you're seeing many companies saying this is affecting our bottom line. Remember, we just heard of Harley Davidson saying that they're going to have to close down some of their sites because they can't afford to build bikes here in America and pay the cost to export them to their UK customers. So they said they have to close up and ship it out. They can't make bikes here for their UK consumers. So it's finally here. We heard that a trade war may come, and now we're actually seeing it has arrived. I'm Danella Sealock, and that was your Political Pop. And I was saddened to hear this. Tina Turner's eldest son, Craig Raymond Turner, has died in an apparent suicide. They said that he was found dead on Tuesday afternoon in his home with self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Craig was born with Tina Turner and her boyfriend at the time, Raymond Hill, and then later adopted by Ike Turner. He was 59 years old. And you can see people are struggling every day. And it's shocking to think about how it's affecting so many people that their deaths may not make, the front page news. And so you don't hear about them. You see people using drugs to escape the pain that they're in. You see people inflicting more pain because of the pain that they're in. And then you see people actually taking their life. If it's you or someone you know that is struggling, there is help. There is help, and there is no shame in asking for help. There are many places, many resources that's out there. If you'd like to call someone now or spread the number, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. And now we'll head to Thailand, where crews are in the process of trying to rescue a coach, a 25-year-old, and his soccer team. We're talking boys trapped in a cave. And if you're following this, you know the cave was flooded, but they worked to drain the cave. And now they're trying to get out the boys and their coach. But unfortunately, they're not strong enough yet to get out on their own. And they're really racing against time as it is monsoon season in Thailand. And so they're working as fast as they can to try to figure out a way how to get these 12 boys out along with their coach. But their story is amazing. The fact that they have managed to live, everyone was fearing the worst. They were lost for over a week. I mean, literally, they've been in this cave nearly 2 weeks, not there yet, a couple of days shy of 2 weeks. But the fact that they are alive is a miracle. A miracle. So praying for their families and the workers that are there. I know the U.S. Navy SEAL is there, international help. Everybody is really trying to figure out a way how to get these young boys and their soccer coach home to safety. And did you hear about this? Talk about honest. Well, there was a delivery guy, out of the kindness of his heart, he notified the customer, the paying customer, that her boyfriend is actually cheating on her. least he was honest. So Kayla Spear wanted to do something so nice for her boyfriend. He was studying so hard for his finals. They're in a long distance relationship, and she thought, let me just send him a delicious sandwich from Jimmy John's. That's nice, right? So she orders him this sandwich. So the delivery guy calls her back and he's like, tells her, hey, basically, I arrived to deliver your sandwich and I can see through your boyfriend's apartment window. He's sitting on his couch in his boxers and there's a naked woman on top of him. Couldn't he just deliver the sandwich? No. And I'm kind of glad he didn't. There's one part of me that's like, just deliver the sandwich. But there's another part of me that's the majority of me. I guess you got to keep evolving. I guess it's that part of me that's proud of him for telling the truth. He's like, just to let you know, you seem like a nice lady. He's cheating on you. So, yeah. So what would you do if you were the delivery guy? Because I think about it and I always really try to treat people the way I want to be treated all the time. I mean, he went out of his way to call back the customer and say, hey, by the way, he really went out of his way. So I want to know, what would you do if you were the delivery guy and this nice girl calls you and she wants to deliver a sandwich to her boyfriend. He's studying. Would you call her back and say, he's not studying for his exam? Is his exam physics? Is he a gigolo? I don't know what he's studying for, but he's cheating on you. I want to know, would you do that? Just curious. Tell me the truth. Seriously, you can leave a comment or do what you like to do. Keep it a secret. And you can email me, DanellaNOW.com. I just want to know, people who join me on this show, are you above board? Would you tell the truth or would you just deliver the sandwich and hope for the best tip? Because he didn't get a tip. Well, he might have gotten a tip if he went through with the delivery. Ooh, I know that boyfriend must have been so mad. I tipped you, dude. First I got my girl dressed, tipped you, and then you ratted me out. Dang. But the sandwich was good. So this actually reminds me of something that happened to me this week. So I'm taking the train, riding up to New York, right? So I'm on the train and this woman comes. She's like, oh, can I sit by you? And she's, needed help with her bag. And I'm, she couldn't get it up on top of the thing. And so I said, well, look, I can help you get it up, but are you going to be able, to get it off? And she said, yeah. So help her get it up. Conductor comes to take her ticket. And he's like, ma'am, sorry, this is coach. You have to, leave. You're in the wrong section. And so she's like up in a puff, like, I paid for business, and she's going off. And in my mind, I'm just trying not to look because, I got my headphones on. I'm doing some editing on the train, just some work I'm working on. And I'm just trying not to look because I already know that this is kind of probably uncomfortable for her. So, but she's making such a puff about it. I'm just like, come on, lady, just quietly do what you do. So anyway, I look and I see that she left her coffee mug in the back part of the seat. So now I'm like, oh, it's like starting to just stare at me, help me get back to my mommy, and I'm just literally like, the internet's slow. And I'm really just like, only got a couple more edits. I got to get this wrapped up and sent off. And literally, I just cannot relax because in my mind, I'm thinking, if this was me, I would want somebody. I mean, it was a nice one too. It was stainless steel. It looked like it kept all her juices cold and all her teas hot. That's what it looked like. So I'm like, man, now I gotta walk through this train and find this lady and give her back this mug. But I don't want to leave my computer. These are all the thoughts in my mind. Girl, you can't leave your computer. But I'm like, it's the train. And then I start thinking about, I know, long story, but I start thinking about I love mysteries and stuff. I know, old school. So I'm thinking Matlock, Murder She Wrote. And I'm like, what if somebody robs? Then I'm going to stop the train and say, no one gets off till I get my stuff back. So again, I just can't take it anymore. So I leave my stuff, grab her mug, and I just go to find her. And I'm just looking around, and I know I can find her. I'm just looking, and I find her. I just signal it, and she's on the phone, and I can tell she's still angered about having to give up her seat. Because she just looked kind of like, she had nice luggage, super dressed up, and all like, I can't believe I paid for this. And so I thought about it, and for me, I just really did it because I would have wanted someone to do that for me. And I feel like in life that if you treat people in the way that you want to be treated, you should be treated, then that's the best life you can live. So anyway, when I hear, stories, I read that story about the delivery guy, there's a part of me, the much younger part, the pre-meditation, pre-mommy, pre-conscious eater person that's like, mind your business, get your tip, leave. That's the deep down person from back in the day still living inside of me. But the today person is like, go out of your way to be the best person you could be. That's what it feels like. Which leads me to 4th of July. What are we supposed to do? So I say that because when I was younger, especially growing up in DC, we would always go to the monument. We were there all day. We would play. What's that game where you have the little? It's like fake tennis. Is it badminton? We have a little, thing that you hit. These little little rackets. I think it is badminton. We would do that and frisbee. These are all games and we as in my sister and I, right? These are not sports we're good at. So, we would do it. Sometimes you would play with other kids next to you, spend all day there, bring food, and just wait for the fireworks. We would do that for years. And so now, this year, we actually went to a parade, me, my husband and I, and our little KJ, who's turning 3. When you see me next, I'll be a mommy of a 3-year-old. Crazy. So anyway, we're there, and they're handing out flags. And so I get one for my son, and I'm just because I'm like, oh, it'll be fun to wave a flag, And my husband, like I said before, West Indian, he's always, West Indians, you guys rep flags all day. So he had his Trinidadian flag in his back because during the parade, his mom is also involved with a steel drum band that was performing in the parade. And so, we're cheering her on like, go, go. He's got his flag, and it's weird because, as a Black American, are we really rocking flags? No. We're not. Unless it's part of your outfit for 4th of July because you thought it was cute. But you're not really necessarily growing up in that way. Like, America, America, go, go, America. Or not like that. And so then when you start really dissecting 4th of July, for example, and you start thinking about it, like, okay, we were really emancipated, so to speak. We broke away from the British July 2nd. But then they had to take 2 days really fighting over freeing slaves. And they were like, nah, on second thought, let's not really free them. Let's leave that part out. We'll say all men are created equal, but we will not free slaves. Right. That moves us to signing the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. So I start thinking about, there's some part of this is youth and fun. In the sense of saying, oh, it's a fun day and we celebrate, we all get together and there's some fireworks and yummy food. And then there's another part of me that balances, because I always try to teach him the truth. And it's really hard, but I try not to create lies, So I think I mentioned this before in another show. Obviously, whenever it's time for his teeth to fall out, I'm not saying a magical fairy comes and delivers you money while you sleep. I'm not doing that. But, I may give him money, but it wouldn't be, or give him a treat, because you want to make it better that they're losing teeth. But we're not going to pretend, oh, there's this man who wears a red suit who slides down your chimney and gives you gifts. I know. My family's shocked. What do you mean the baby can't have a Santa? What do you mean? And I'm like, I'm not saying he can't have a Santa. I'm saying I'm not teaching him that there's a Santa. There's mommy, daddy in the house, and God blesses us with what you have. But we're not selling you on this North Pole cat that we then have to crush your dreams about later. So anyway, because of this, my husband calls me the dream crusher. Oh, isn't that bad? So sad. I know. I think it's sad. You might be listening or watching and you're thinking, you are the dream crusher. But no, I just don't want to lie and have to explain to him later. Because I remember when I found out Santa wasn't real and I felt lied to. I did. It annoyed me. I was like, man, y'all got me looking all crazy out here in these elementary school streets, making me think this white man that's not related to us comes down into our house. And we were at the time, we didn't even have chimneys. So I remember asking, what do you do if you don't have a chimney? How does he get to you? Right. It's troubling. And then you find out everyone's lying. So to me, it's better just for us. I'm just like, let's just not create it. We don't have to, it won't be an issue if you don't create it. Because I know there's many families who don't teach their children that and they have happy lives. So with that, I start thinking about I don't know, with the 4th of July, what will we say? Will we just have him grow up knowing the truth? Hey, this is the country that we live in. This is what happened. And fireworks are pretty. That's what I really felt like watching him. He had his American flag, but just, he likes waving it. And I was like, oh, he looks so cute. And then his dad, with heart and soul and passion is waving his flag, Trinidadian flag, repping hard. And I'm like, that's awesome that you have a passion to rep something that you love, that you feel passionate and that, cares for you, and yeah, well, I don't think Black Americans, I don't think we can't say that. We can say, it is great to live in this land and that, we could have opportunities. We can say that, but really it's tough. It's really tough. So I don't know. I was just thinking about it. How will we do it? Because prior to him, we definitely would do 4th of July events. We did. And it was fun. Cookouts, any reason to cook food on a grill is a good reason. All right. Any reason to do that. It's awesome. And now I wonder how we will pass this tradition on as like educated individuals. Man, I swear. Are you in this boat? I know you have to be. If you actually watch this podcast, you're in this boat. If you watch or listen. And that is this boat of trying to be better, right? I say it like that because some stuff that I'm being better on is not fun. Like giving up cheese. It's not fun. It's still a struggle. I've talked about on a previous show, me and Cheese and I, we're still together. Only in public. I don't buy it. It's like you can't come home with me. That's my rule. You can't come home with me. But maybe if I'm out and it's a special occasion, I can eat you in the streets. But I can't eat you in the house. I know. And a lot of the things that I educate myself on and I become more evolved on, sometimes it's just not fun. I know there's great fun. There is great fun out there. But yeah, even the Snickers, remember I put that on the show when I showed you what was in the Snickers genetically modified food. I was like, no. So, yeah, so it continues. It's a struggle. Every holiday, every new fact, every new book I read. Like, man, every new book I read, every new book. Lightning. It's awesome. It is awesome. I know I sound kind of negative right now. See, if you just take away now I don't want to take away fireworks, but I'm saying, you take away fun stuff, then you start to feel like, oh gosh, oh man. I remember when I first gave up bacon, I was like, this is many, many moons ago, but I was like, why would anybody want to give up bacon? Bacon never did anything wrong to anybody. Did it? That's how I felt. All right. Now I'm just going to get into In Art World. This week, we're going to head up to Montreal, where the world's largest jazz festival had to cancel one of its shows, one of the shows that was in the festival, because of racism. First of all, when I saw this, I was like, how could they even have let this go on for a couple days before people noticed and then canceled it? But yeah, the Montreal Jazz Festival had a show called Slav. I believe it's Slav, Slav. You see this? So anyway, they had this show, and in it, it featured a mostly white cast of actors, and they were acting like slaves. And I read that there were only 2 actual African Americans that were in the performance, and this went on for about 2 days before someone was like, yo, what the hell? Like, seriously. So the show premiered the last week of the 10-day festival and lasted 2 performances before people started to protest. The production was billed as a theatrical odyssey based on slave songs and featured songs, work songs, sung by chain gangs in the South. And I must just say again, this is the world's largest jazz festival. And someone was like, I got a great idea. You want some jazz? I'll give you some jazz. Let's get a group of white people together. We'll add in 2 people of color. And have the white people act like slaves. And they can sing slave songs during the world's largest jazz festival. But it's not racist. And it went on for 2 days. One of the performers, this is a singer-songwriter, Moses Sumney. He was scheduled to perform at the festival, and he pulled out over its endorsement of the show. And this is what he wrote. He wrote an open letter to the festival's programmers, and he said, this is why I'm pulling out. He said, recently I was disappointed to hear about the Montreal Jazz Festival booking multiple nights of a show called Slav, in which a majority white group of singers led by a white Quebecois, my French is off, director sing African-American slave songs, sometimes dressed as field slaves and cotton pickers. When I learned that the festival continued to defend this show publicly, even after adamant protests, during which one of the showgoers, in parentheses, the majority of which were, of course, white, slapped a woman of color protesting the show. What? I knew that I could not present my music at the same festival in good conscience, especially on a day sandwiched between Canada Day and Independence Day, 2 bittersweet holidays that have left Black, brown, and Indigenous voices out. That's crazy. He said that one of the women slapped a woman of color that was protesting the show. That's in our world. And I want to call it the Trump effect. I know a lot of people may say, no, it's not. Some people call it nationalism now. And the reason why I say it's the Trump effect, yes, I know racism has been around forever, but we are seeing this prevalence. On one part, I think the prevalence that we're seeing is because of social media, where we have the ability to know immediately. Like you are much more aware when something happens. So that's one element of it. But you're seeing even in the elections in the world, we're talking not here just in America, but in the world, you see a lot of people putting people into office that they're calling nationalist, right? But when you look at what do these nationalists stand for, they stand for separation. They stand for people who look like them, people who have money like them, people like them, and only fighting for those people. That's what that stands for. And once Trump got into office and would say things like he said bad hombre, like hair color, but all the things that he said, whether he's making fun of somebody in a wheelchair, whether he's making fun of a woman who he doesn't feel is attractive, especially in a professional setting, this woman is a reporter here to interview you and you want to just talk about how she's not attractive. The list is so long, even separating families. They're criminals, these are criminals coming across the border, you know? And there's so many things that are blatant racist statements, clearly, that happen every single day. And we see this in a air quote leader, so to speak, makes it prevalent and makes a lot of people feel like this is okay for me to do. This is okay. This is okay. Makes total sense. It's no big deal. Even in Maryland, there was a situation that happened where during a funeral, someone accidentally knocks over a chalice in the middle of a funeral. And like the priest was like, get the hell out of my church. And this is what the people are quoting that were in this funeral service. The woman's trying to bury her mother. Someone accidentally knocks over a chalice. And it's like he's kicking all of us Black people out of this church. Get this thing, referring to her mother, get this thing out of here. Could you believe that? And so you're even seeing it in the church. And so to me, the reason why I call it the Trump effect is not saying that, well, obviously he didn't create racism and, I don't believe that. But I feel that there is this outspokenness that is encouraged for a racist voice that was not encouraged for many years. In fact, we've spent all of our lives trying to fight that voice, right? We've spent all of our lives fighting for equality and saying, hey, it's not right to do that. And now you hear him saying things like, I would like to end affirmative action in school. That's what he's working on right now. So does it shock me that the world's largest jazz festival for 2 days was running a racist piece, that even somebody that was in the jazz festival, a performer, was like, yo, I got to call, I'm out of this. I can't do this festival because y'all got this racist stuff going on and y'all think it's cool, to the fact that a protester gets slapped in the face, assaulted, and y'all let that ride. It still was going on before more people started protesting, before they even canceled that show. And I just feel again that all of this is on the level of, we have to individually be responsible for ourselves and responsible for breaking this cycle of hurt and hate and stopping progressing that chain. Because all we can do is be responsible for ourselves. And even when I'm on the train, I mentioned that train story because there was a part of me that was like, well, I got to bring her back her tea. I'm going to be honest, there was a moment of that. But then there's another part of me that's like, but we're all equal. I don't care that she's white. We're all equal. There's a mix up and she left this on accident. And if I left something on accident, I would want somebody to take a few extra minutes to help me out. Because clearly I'm having a bad day. Clearly, or I'm the biggest actor in the world, which I don't think. I think she probably thought she did something that she didn't do, But it's like, man, what will we see next? What will we see? My hope is that by spreading this information, by shining a light on these injustices, that we work to stop them, not build a tolerance to create them. And so when you see policies and rhetoric that's racist and rooted in hate, we must continue to call it out, and we must not become desensitized to this. We can't think that, it's cool that he said that. For whatever reason, he feels it, let him do it. We can't continue to think that this is right. We must remember what is right. And we must continue to do what is right, not for the recognition of doing something right, not in wanting someone to praise you for the right thing. We do what is right because that is what you're supposed to do for you. Yourself. It's true. the reward is yours internally in this life and in the life beyond. I'll have to talk to you more about that in another show. I know I'm doing too much and you just had a holiday. I know. But seriously, man, we just cannot be desensitized to this rhetoric. And we must continue to call out injustices, and we must continue to not tolerate it. So that about wraps up my show for this week. Next week, when you see me, I will officially be a mommy of a 3-year-old. Now, I know for a lot of people, that's not a big deal. Please, y'all have 21-year-olds. Right. So, or 7-year-olds, you're like, I've been doing it 7 years. But you're probably not, because all the parents that I talk to, all talk about challenges of being a parent. And I swear, literally, every time my son has a birthday, I just see it as just a blessing for my husband and I. One, I'm like, man, we married. We still in this, we still in this. And he's alive. We kept him alive because it's hard in this world. We have to have a happy child is truly priceless, just an exciting time and interesting time in our family. Really, I'm just happy to be able to be here with you. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to come back and check out my podcast, leaving comments. Thank you for that. Even your emails. I truly appreciate it. So thank you. If you haven't done so and you'd like to do so, you can email me. Email Danella@DanellaNOW.com, and on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @DanellaNOW. I hope you have an incredible weekend, and I will see you next week.